welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. I made the mistake of putting it's like a vitamin C tablet in my mouth right before I started, so I should just spit it out, but I'll try to work through this and not click it around on my teeth too much while this is going on, because I forget how sensitive this mic is, so you'll hear everything. Hey, K5. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Back again. Yeah, I just realized I gotta fix my starting time here, because I think I'm overlapping with Hyphonic's stream, so I don't know if I'm losing viewership because of that, because I think most of my viewership came from Hyphonics, so it's stupid to be streaming the same time he is, because there's nobody to watch. But yeah, so I'll try to fix that. I got to come up with a way to free up my mornings. But yeah, so back again, and nothing has changed. That's too bad. There's just absolutely nothing to do differently or update. But I have figured out streaming does require two machines. I mean, I think game streamers knew that for most of the time, but I think the big reason I was getting strange lagging and difficulty with my Photoshop is just because it was trying to share resources on an outdated computer, and when Photoshop was running on a totally separate machine, then the streaming and the graphics software aren't fighting each other. So I'm running it on a tablet, so it's slower. It's much slower, but it's not fighting for the machine. Nice. Yeah, I as soon as I clicked on the streaming thing on YouTube, and my update said Hyphonics was live, I'm like, nah, that's pretty stupid of me to be doing that, but I'll figure out a good schedule one of these days. Seems like this would be the best time to do it when my sorry. Yeah, sorry, I got my mouse too with the computer right by the speaker, so if I click on that mouse, it might be pretty loud. So just survived Mother's Day. I've been up pretty late now. My schedule is all strange, but I was called my mom back in the U.S., and she was expecting my call much earlier, so they were already going somewhere for lunch or whatever. I guess where they are, they don't have any cases, like literally zero cases of the bad weather, so they don't. She says nobody takes precautions there, and that makes her not want to go shopping and stuff, because nobody's wearing masks, nobody's social distancing or anything. But that's also the big advantage between living in an overcrowded city like New York and then the middle of nowhere. The countryside is you got a lot less to deal with as far as other people's problems. But yeah, that was good to hear. So she's been retired since last year, so perfect timing. She couldn't have chose a better time to because she was doing a lot of air travel too, so she was on airplanes all the time, which meant she had like enough air miles to come visit us. Or I think we met in Hawaii one year, since she did it all with her miles from her job, but at the same time she was on planes a lot, and that's good for her not to be doing that anymore, especially now. But yeah, Japan is what? Mother's Day. I'm sorry, you're talking about Mother's Day. Yeah, they don't. I guess they do Mother's Day. It's the same. It's the same Sunday as Sunday, right? Yeah, it's the same. It's the same day that. Oh wait, whatever it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It is the same day. They don't change it. Most of their imported holidays, they don't move around for any reason. But anything, like they have Halloween and Christmas and Mother's Day, Father's Day, and then all of their extra days here, like they have their own. The only thing they have their own versions of is like Grandparents' Day, because that's their respect for the elderly day. And then they have a lot of go to the mountains, go to the ocean days, which are just excuses to, get people to stop working for a little bit, give them an occasional 3-day weekend. But yeah, and it's basically the same thing, just, call your mom, visit your mom kind of stuff. But in a lot of cases, I mean, I would say for a big percent of the under 30s in Japan, or maybe even under 40s, even under 40s in Japan, they live with their moms. People basically, unless they have an opportunity, like a job that will take them to another part of the country, they live at home until they get married. And so basically, that's what powers the anime and manga industry in Japan. Is they just hire people that are huge fans and have grown up, loving comic books or loving animation, pay them $12 an hour, if that, and expect them to, if they don't, live in Tokyo, to relocate. Or there's little studios everywhere. But it's assumed that you don't need to live on that money because you can't live on that money. So most of the people that work in those industries, or a lot of those people, are parasite kids. They're kids that are never going to move out, never going to pay rent, and just will live at home forever. So the industries are definitely taking advantage of that. And that's not true for the higher ups, the producers and executives and things of those companies, but it's definitely true of the people that are stuck in their little cubicles drawing all day. It feels, I don't have any personal experience, this is all secondhand, but it's very sweatshopy, the way that you just sit and crank stuff out. And they do kind of factory, especially with manga, where they're just passing files around, and everyone, you do this, everyone has their part to do, and they just factory work those things until they're done. Which, it's been like that for a while. Oh, and then there was news that a comic, I don't know if you know the kind of a James Bond kind of character, Golgo 13 is this like assassin. There's been some anime and the manga has been translated, but they broke their 52, the cartoonist, the artist, broke their 52-year streak. It's been published for 52 years. This is the first time they're going to miss an issue. So most of the comics are published serialized. I can't say the other word. They're serialized in weekly or monthly anthologies, and then they're published as collections. And so they're under a kind of a strict production schedule, and this is the first time. The creator must be pretty old, though, but the creator said this is the first time they're going to miss, and it's their 500, it's number 599. So that means they do 100 a year, or 10 a year, sorry, 10 a year. But they're going to do something special for their 600. So they say, yeah, we're indefinitely delaying the latest issue, but it's just because we want to work on our new one. Seen Godzilla. Oh, the actual Godzilla? Or the... I've seen a couple of different permutations of Godzilla since I've been here. They even did that weird Godzilla as a vegetable kind of thing, where he was a plant. That Netflix series that was in Ninja Scroll. Yeah, that's a great I don't know what it's called here. I've only ever dealt with the import, and I haven't seen. I think that's one of those anime. That studio is kind of popular, but that one is more popular. Ninja Scroll is more popular outside of Japan than in, because anime fans in Japan are kind of weird. They love the harem stories, the magical girl stories, the weird, group of students doing sci-fi robot things. A lot of the stuff that's really popular here is unwatchable. And so the stuff that gets popular outside, that may be changing with like Crunchyroll and stuff. But when I first came to Japan and was talking about anime I like, people were like, I don't know that. I don't know that. Even things like Furikuri, Fulikuli, I think is the English title, isn't that popular here compared to how popular Adult Swim made that in the U.S. Yeah, but there've been a few. I saw the Shin Godzilla, the Evangelion writers' take on Godzilla in the theater, and that was interesting. I was expecting a lot more because I was hoping that it was going to be, and there isn't a lot of political criticism or satire or anything that they don't even deal with metaphor when they're talking about their government. Because it's very sensitive. They can very easily just be shut down if they're being too critical of the government. And not quite in the Chinese way, but in the subtle Japanese way. But yeah, just like the American version kind of tied, came up with a new take on Godzilla and had him attracted to, radiation or whatever, and have this be this force of nature. The Shin Godzilla, the story was the government. It was more directly the government dealing and their kind of machinations and how inefficient or full of people that are only worried about their careers it is, and how they were going to deal with the threat of Godzilla, because Shin Godzilla was kind of like the very first Godzilla movie where it's just this thing comes out of the ocean and starts messing everybody's life up. And it was okay, but pretty toothless. If they were trying at all to, be critical of the government or anything, it was very toothless and not so critical. And it was. I was really hoping when I went into the movie theater, I was really hoping that this was going to be so relating it to Fukushima, because that was like the latest natural disaster that had happened and the government's mishandling of that. And I thought there was going to be some kind of direct parallels or some comment on that, and there really wasn't. It got very corny, and there was a little romance in it, kind of, and it wasn't. It was just more atmospheric kind of thing. It was the tone, like a lot of the scenes with the government inefficiency and stuff were just kind of tone and atmosphere, and they weren't really a direct criticism of how it failed. But that was an opportunity there, and so you see that there's not mainstream political speech or content in unless you say things like the atomic bomb is bad, the war is bad. Unless you say really big obvious things politically, you don't have. There's not a lot of subtle political speech in mainstream Japan. There's a lot in underground and artists and things, kind of not mainstream or not whatever. There is limited, and I think just because it makes people uncomfortable. I'm interested drawing long boxes. It makes people uncomfortable because maybe too much political speech reminds them of the 30s in Japan, and there are still a few people that are around to remember that. Columbia House, nice. Oh yeah, they just did a new Ghost in the Shell Netflix. I'm not sure if it's on American Netflix yet, but they did a new Ghost in the Shell series for Netflix in Japan, and it's terrible. It's that CG 3D model, kind of a little too computer animated stuff. And they did one for Altered Carbon as well, and that looked interesting. At least the models were kind of weirdly detailed, and each frame of the animation looked almost like an illustration. It was very weirdly detailed and kind of interesting and perfect to look at. Story was garbage. The voice acting was bad. Everything was terrible about it. And the same thing with the new Ghost in the Shell. It was just garbage. I don't know who's watching that. I don't know who they're making that for. And maybe it's just like this weird kind of generic thing for international market. Maybe I don't know. It was just odd. But yeah, Ninja Scroll and Akira. Yeah, Akira was the first, aside from TV, aside from, like Speed Racer and Battle of the Planets, which is, I'll think of I just do all the American titles. Battle of the Planets, Star Blazers, and what else? Yeah, and I guess I get to see Johnny Sacco, right, which is Gigantor. I forget. I saw some Gigantor and some Voltron, but when I was a kid, and then but Akira was the first like real anime with like the more updated level of animation and everything. That really blew me away. I got to see that in the theater when they did the release. They kind of did an art house release in the U.S. and but it was like a 70mm screening or something. It was really, really amazing. But yeah, that was so. And I think for a lot of people that was early. That was the first big anime, and there was also, all the little stuff that was coming. I forget, Comico or ADV, or there were some small companies that were localizing manga that was based on anime, and then the anime was coming out. But it was all on, like you're saying, Joe, all on VHS. That's crazy. Remember having, and dubbing VHS tapes, like, sharing tapes. And also that was the big way to buy anime is bootleg. Well, they didn't even have that anymore, but yeah, there used to be, you go to Comic-Cons and there's a big table of bootleg videotapes. And I think the only way they got away with it, the gray market of it, is because it was taken from usually Japanese laser discs and sometimes fan subtitled, and they didn't. It wasn't. There were no rights. There were no rights for the U.S. At that time, so they weren't like violating any U.S. company's licensing agreement or hurting anybody's business. And eventually, the U.S. companies figured out they could do that, and then all the piracy just went online. All the piracy just became digital torrents and things. Wow. Yeah, it's terrible though. It's really disappointing. It's the same voices, the Japanese voices, and probably the American voices, American dub voices too. So it's weird to hear that voice, the Major's voice, coming out of like something else. They have they made her look a little young again, like a little childish. The writing for the TV show, the first couple of seasons of the TV show was really good. Each story was kind of interesting, and still dealt with that. What's going on? Still dealt with all the ideas of artificial. Is artificial life real life and all that good stuff. That show is good, or that series is good to deal with, but this is just terrible. I'm not sure what they're trying to do. But maybe because it's on Netflix, they're trying to go for this broader appeal. But the story was just really disappointing. There we go. Yeah, but yeah, it's weird too, because people still go to movie. Well, I don't know anymore after this, but people will still go to movie theaters here. So they've been experimenting with how to increase business by doing things like having a TV show, and the season finale is a movie in the movie theater, or when they do Netflix things, because Netflix isn't like so standard. There's no Netflix and chill in Japan. probably because you live with your parents, but they don't have that same. It doesn't have that same popularity. So things get released like the Godzilla series, where Godzilla was some weird alien plant thing, and it was all people traveling to some planet that it lived on. They have the premiere of the movie, because they're kind of like long form movies. They have the premiere of those in the movie theater, and then it plays online. And I'm not sure how that did financially for them. Yeah, they did, because they did three. They did three of those Netflix, first in the theater, then on Netflix, Godzilla movies. But it was that horrible CG, anime. I mean, I can't believe that's probably going to be gone soon. Is actually hand animated, even though they're doing it digitally. But actual hand drawings, maybe a little bit of computer assistant, definitely computer assisting in coloring and particle effects and things. But yeah, the last Pokemon movie that I took my daughter to was almost pencil. It had like an effect, like a pencil drawn, hand drawn effect, and that was so great to watch. It's so interesting and clean and alive when they have the digital part of it, but it moves well, and that's, I guess, like learning animation or learning a bit of animation. I get too sensitive to that, but I hate that computer animated stuff that just you just see them, they set two keyframes in the computer, just boom boom, very mechanically is moving things. It doesn't look alive, it doesn't even pretend to look alive, it just follows this set of keyframes through whatever action it's supposed to be doing, and really disappointing. But there's so much of that now because it must be real cheap. Hey Hazzy, how's it going? But yeah, they haven't, since I've been here, they haven't done. But it was really funny though that the Shin Godzilla got made, because the rights, kind of, I guess that in the agreements they can't get in each other's way. Like they can't release Godzilla, like a Japanese and an American Godzilla movie can't come out at the same time, because obviously the American one is going to wipe it out as far as market reach, but the Japanese movie will be probably more authentic or have a better tone. But they don't want to compete. But as soon as America had success with that first Godzilla reboot, then all of a sudden Toho was like, oh, we love Godzilla. Good to see ya, Hazzy. Nice to have you guys on. Yeah, I'm glad I could get on today, and yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm doing. But this like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, this setup has made me realize I do need two computers to stream anything, just because the streaming software is a little too memory intensive or resource intensive. So I might upgrade this in some way, upgrade the tablet, and then not be doing streaming, just have the video out that I'm streaming. People that did game stream knew that a long time ago, and I thought for creative streaming it wouldn't be too bad. But you've probably seen, if you watch any of the archive stuff, sometimes I'm just like sitting and waiting, and it's an older but a very powerful machine at the time. It's got enough to run Photoshop, at least the way that I was doing it, and it was just choking when OBS or anything else was running for streaming. So yeah, I've got to get used to that, and you need that that little Elgato cam link to make that possible. You got to take your HDMI out. So I heard that during the bad weather there were people that were grabbing all that stuff up. I forget who was saying that. Some YouTuber or something was saying, or no, it was a comedian. It was a comedian that was trying to get into live streaming. Was saying somebody like on Amazon just bought up all of the cam links, the 4K and the regular cam links, and then relisted them for they're like $100, $200, and relisted them for like $400, $500. Nice, because they don't have a huge inventory, and it's one of those essential pieces. So once people, that was the thing too. My wife wanted to get just some headphones to do some Zoom conference stuff with work, and they're all sold out. Like in Japan, if you go into the regular electronics shop, they've got nothing as far as anything to help. I mean, maybe they have the really cheap, like the $5 like little one ear microphone setup, but as far as like headphones with a kind of more streaming headphones, they don't have those anywhere. I guess because everybody that's working from home bought them for the first time. Yeah. Oh yeah, nice. That's right. Hackintosh update from Joe. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't used it's been a few versions of the Mac OS since I've used that on the desktop. I was buying like because I would have clients that wanted both, and for a while there was still some weird compatibility issues or software issues between Windows and PC, so I needed some kind of small Mac to be able to run stuff. So I always had a Mac Mini of some kind as a kind of backup or a way to convert files or run Mac specific, Mac only software. And that stopped. I stopped having to do that, and then I haven't used the Mac OS since. But it's so frustrating when you're doing both of those. It's almost like America and Japan, or like Western and Eastern. They just, maybe for the learning curve or whatever, everything is just a little bit on, like to close a window, it's on the opposite side, and some of the different manipulation and on the shortcuts and everything, there's some enough variation that you need to get in. Oh, this is way too big. That you need to get into the mode. You need to get into either Mac or Windows mode to work very quickly. So that was always frustrating, hunting for things on the interface. But yeah, I still remember when when you couldn't even have the same font on both Windows and Mac. Those are the old days. Those are the SCSI port days. Yikes. I don't know what this is. But it needs to look like it fits in there, huh? No, that's not going to happen. Something different. Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, Amazon's inventory sometimes is surprisingly bad. Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Yeah, definitely worth it if you're going to do it to go high end. Then you'll be able to run it longer, and maybe the extra memory, extra processor power, and everything, extra graphical power will help any problems. That seemed to be the thing that always Macs seem to age very poorly and have memory problems. Early on, I can remember just working on stuff in Photoshop, just whoop, just nope, gone. It wouldn't crash, it would just like disappear when I was working. That was so frustrating. At least you get the helpless, like, you're fucked warnings from Windows. But I remember early, this is, PowerPC chips, Motorola chips, Mac days. But yeah, when it would just have memory, when it would have resource or memory problems, it would just like close, the software just close, like, oh, you didn't save? Well, that's too bad. Yeah, that was rough. Okay, what am I putting in these boxes? That's cool. Yeah, that's nice. That yeah, I guess once they started doing Intel, they switched over. I don't want to make anything that looks too bizarre. But Yeah, I might want to do that someday. That would be nice to have a Mac again and see at least what's going on. And you could probably... Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. And you probably can dual boot. You can like partition it or set up separate hard drives that you could boot between Windows and Mac. That would be cool instead of running something in the Mac OS to emulate Windows. You could have it boot into both. I'm sure though, because I did when before. This is looking weird. I'm not gonna be doing that. What's gonna? All right. Yeah, when I was still needed things that ran only on Windows 8, I had a dual boot set up, and sometimes it'd run into some weird problems with that setup, and especially if I had to troubleshoot either half of it, and then eventually everything finally came out for 10. It seemed like a slow rollout. What's going on here? Trying to draw something that would look like it would be in one of these boxes, but I don't know. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, when I was in art school early on, I wanted to do painting and drawing. I mostly did kind of figural stuff, even if it was a little distorted or it just kind of barely referenced a figure, like the human form. It was still somewhat recognizable and always based on, like working from a model or the idea of, human anatomy. But I did do some stuff that was kind of textural, like it was, because when you'd see those, like a utility pole that has had like years and years of like band posters and stuff stuck to it in the city, you always get really interested in like the weird effect that people have on just their environment and surfaces. So when they plaster up those, when they still do those paste up posters on abandoned buildings and stuff, or you have like construction areas or whatever, and there's just like layers and layers and layers of previous stuff, and then things get torn away and you have these weird images and layers of things. I did some work like that, so not really abstract, but it was more about the process, and so it was more weird kind of collage, like building up these weird surfaces and then like selectively like tearing away parts of it and revealing stuff from layers underneath. And that was fun, but it was also, just kind of random and more about the process. So you don't have a lot of control over it unless you like very specifically planned it. So you want like accidental, interesting things to happen, and sometimes they don't. And then it's not so intentional. You don't have what you're doing is not so direct. You're just kind of talking about that process. But I really like that. The only thing that yeah, I like that. That was like, coming from the suburbs and countryside. The city does have an effect on you, and you do kind of when you see those things like that, you realize like the impact that people have, with the shared space. And so I did a lot of that stuff. But there's some a few artists at the time that they were talking about that did a lot of that real thick, like it was a lot of abstract painting and real thick kind of layers, and all of the curators and people working at the museums had a difficult time of even just maintaining these paintings because they weren't done with any sort of technical understanding of how the paint was going to adhere to the surface. It was just for the look and the effect of it. And so when you do stuff like that, then you'll have paintings that have big chunks of them falling off, and it's a real restoration process, or the restorists have a lot of difficulty dealing with, well, how am I altering this work too much if it just keeps falling apart? And I think a lot of the artists don't really care. They don't see their work as eternal. They don't expect it to be around for 1,000 years. So if it decays, that's fine with them. So there's not really even support from the artists about maintaining that kind of work. So my point in talking about that is that started to get me to think about I was creating kind of degradable art when you're just doing layers of paper and glue and things. I didn't know like how that was going to age and what was even going to happen to that unless you just like varnish the whole the whole thing. But so that's and then things got digital for me pretty quickly. For first film, like it was when it was animation. So I started doing animation. It was all film animation, and things then became digital, and that was all for that. Well, what's going in these boxes? Let me try to draw something else because this idea is not going anywhere. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. A dual boot Mac Windows would be awesome. I'm kind of stuck because I rely too much on the kind of Adobe suite of things, and that doesn't run on Linux. So, but it would be nice to just get away completely from either Windows or Mac. And I've had like friends in Japan that are all like very much against running anything but Linux, but you don't have the software, to work kind of commercially. I don't want to relearn like B or C level graphics software just for the just to not worry about what's going on in the background with Windows. But yeah, that seems to be an impossibility. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, nice. Yeah, I love those. That was Paradise coming here for the plastic model kits, and there was a big. They changed it, but they built in kind of the Akihabara of Osaka, which is called Denden Town or Nipponbashi. But Denden Town had a Gundam only, so one of the electronic shops, Joshin, that always had a big hobby section, built a Gundam plastic model kit only shop, and with a big Gundam hand coming through the wall, and it was really great. The design of the interior and everything was really great, but I guess they couldn't survive. Whoa, they couldn't survive forever with Gundam only, which is really strange. So they are now just like general hobby everything with a Gundam floor. So the second floor is all Gundam, but they have general hobby stuff everywhere. And once the Chinese tourists started rolling in, there were some people that would buy Gundam stuff, but maybe not enough. There haven't been any good new series though in a while. I think Bandai's been working too hard to just like everybody is doing, working too hard to like secure some new future audience, and so all the stuff has been kind of childish and weird. The stories haven't been that interesting. Like I really like the 00. That was the first original series I ever saw like live as it aired when I was in Japan. Is the Gundam 00 series, and the story was really good. The story was really interesting and weird, intense. But more recently it's been kind of oddly childish. I didn't watch the Iron Blood Orphans series, and then because there was just a lot of other stuff that was the character design was a little odd on that one, but there was a lot of like the Gundam builder stuff, and I just avoided a lot of the stuff that was real. I don't know. I just had too much tie-in. They were trying to connect, card games and things to it too. Apparently, like it was too obvious what they were doing, and it wasn't. They didn't care so much about the story. They just cared about the merchandising of it. Maybe Gundam's always been a little bit like that, but it was weird. I think they're trying to find a way to get at some new audience, and I don't think you need to, because if the property stays interesting, people age into it. Or I remember being young and wanting to like things that were a little too old for me, and so what happened to that? Don't kids do that anymore? They need something that's like very specifically made for their age bracket, and then they just outgrow it. Whereas if you like something when you're young that's a little older than you, it seems to last longer, and you can be a fan of it, longer into your life. So it's weird. They're working too hard to do that. So some of the content's a little childish. Yeah. Yeah, there's a great shop. I think it's in both Tokyo and Osaka, called Super Potato. And Super Potato has the huge section. Their prices are terrible. And basically the used game market, kind of like retro gaming stuff, is really bad now. Like 10 years ago, you could find some treasures and some interesting stuff still, with people just dumping, their old game collections and things, or probably parents or whatever, getting rid of people's or wives. People get married and their wives make them get rid of their game collections. But there was still treasure to be found. And then once the internet, internet auctions and things really, really became popular, I think Yahoo Auctions is the popular one here. It just, everything, the prices of everything became inflated, and basically people that had anything used would just check what it was going for on auction sites and price it like that. So all the prices just jumped up. You couldn't get any, there wasn't any treasure hunting left. And then I think a lot of like Chinese students and stuff studying, and basically Asian students in general. So if they were bilingual Japanese and whatever their native language was, then that they're, as a student, to survive in Japan, they just gouged collectors for video games. So stuff just disappeared, like entire sections in game shops of used old stuff just became all the horse racing games and trash that there's way too many copies of everywhere, and none of the more classic stuff that people would want to look for. Yeah, that happened pretty fast. Oh yeah. Attack on Titan was really popular, and I think because it kind of resonated in an interesting way with the young Japanese people. The professor that I work with was talking about how he actually became interested in the anime because of the students' like phonetic kind of love of it, and asked them about what was so interesting about it, and they were saying it was the first kind of series that they saw where the younger generation was the saviors. They were the key. They were, the people that were going to fix this world or save humanity or whatever. And although that's been that's always a kind of a common theme in anime, it was really real strong and really direct, and that resonated very much with them, because they wanted to, the kind of younger idealistic people wanted to change the world or fix things, or protect Japan basically. And that's the only part of that story that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with, or kind of like, that's an odd choice. And they do that kind of accidentally. Like Japanese people are like accidentally racist a lot, and it's not, I don't think it's intentional, but they especially in the manga, the giants, the titans, were all Caucasian. So or they read as very Caucasian, but in a lot of Japanese character design, it's hard to, like, people don't look Asian, it's racially, it's a tricky thing, because they do emulate a lot of, they have a lot of, they like the designs of like kind of something with a European feel, as when they do like dated or kind of steampunk, or like period pieces or steampunk. But the horrible giants destroying this, city, all read as, foreign invaders, and they were all these giant naked. I mean, the story developed a lot more past that, but the first season really read as xenophobic and like, keep out foreigners, bad, keep them out, and we have to fight, the young people of Japan have to fight to protect ourselves from foreign invaders, and that made me a little uncomfortable. But that they've kind of moved away from that. It's gotten a little more, there's been less emphasis on it looking like Asian kids killing giant Caucasian people, but it felt like that a lot for the very first time. But yeah, the kids here really responded to the responsibility of the younger generation to save their culture, save their city, save their people, or avenge the people that had been killed. But I was always a little bit like, how intentional is that? These much taller people than they are climbing over their walled city, So Japan has the history of like isolationism and things, and Europeans forcing them, into the market, or forcing them into trade or whatever. It's like, I hope this isn't a weird racial reading of history, and I hope that's not why people are responding to it. But I definitely that. I mean, if you look at the merchandising and things, you can tell how huge it is here, and then a lot of games and stuff too. And they even did movies, live action movies, which is that's an odd thing to try with that property, especially with the budgets that Japanese movies usually have. You just have a bunch of weird people on green screens, kind of matted in, and then CG versions of the other ones. But I think things have changed a lot, because it used to be that anime, originally you just had to pirate it, and then it was this weird subculture, and now it has its own streaming service now. So yeah, it's very funny. And so many weird, especially internet culture, so many weird Japanese kind of meme type stuff has made it into, and it's mostly from like erotic, the adult anime and stuff. A lot of that stuff has made it into internet culture and meme culture, and it's kind of weird. it's very, very weird to see that. Oh wow, these are all on one layer. Well, worry about that later. Oh yeah. Oh, that's true too. Yeah. Hey Sedona, how's it going? Oh, that's right. Yeah, the two, especially with the live action that they, because it was all Asian actors. It read much more Asian. But yeah, there was something about that. It was like, oof, it's kind of odd. But racial stuff is weird, unless they do a real weird kind of racial caricature of like an African character, or sometimes like the European characters get the big beak noses and tiny eyes and stuff. But usually in anime, there's not, because it's such an odd form. The design of the face is weird, because it has a lot of Western features on a wider Asian face, with giant German doll eyes. So I don't know. It's a really weird development. I think it comes from a weird love of. Well, they said that. I mean, I've read things that have said the origin of it is there were like German dolls that were popular in Japan that had that face shape and eyes that read as cute. And then also, Disney's influence on Tezuka was a big part of things. Like the way that Astro Boy and characters look, because he's the very early innovator of that medium. Hey, Jane. Wow. Nice. So did you change color, Sedona, or are you just retouching the previous color? Nice. Jane from Portland. That's cool. Yeah, so that thing is very funny, because it's nice though that it does keep things strangely cultureless. Like, even if characters are obviously supposed to be Japanese, they don't quite read as Asian, so it helps make anime more, it can be more universal. A lot of the character situations, obviously, like the schools and all the details of their life, are very Japanese, but the characters looking this weird whatever, this weird in between, it doesn't keep anybody from liking it. Like, I think internationally it's easy to like those character designs because they don't read specifically as any race. Right. Oh, I never thought about that. Now you say that, Joe. That's weird. So it could also have been read as a, like Fortress Tokyo defending itself against like the, because there is a little bit of a culture clash between rural Japan, which is dying, and basically people have to leave because there's no work, between rural Japan and the more organized, cities with their suburban rings and things. But yeah, saying they looked like toothless countryside. Dark brown. Mm-hmm. Wow. I hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, it's weird. Days are just sliding by. It's weird, when there's a weekend, nothing really changes. I mean, things are a little bit more crowded, like grocery stores and things on the weekend here, so I think some people are still, I mean, they have to maybe be in front of a computer or in front of a camera or something if they're working from home, just so they're accountable, so people don't go out, or go out more on the weekends to do the essentials. But yeah, I don't know. And some of the schools have started remote learning stuff too here, so that's kept some kids inside, because it was getting pretty noisy, actually, like hearing the groups of kids running around during the day. Yeah, right. 2020 is completely, yeah, I don't even know. I had so many big plans for 2020. I just decided, because I got really sick at the end of 2019. I'm like, wow, I'm only going to get less healthy and more sick the longer I live, so I better start doing the things I want to do as much and as immediately as possible. And so I had a lot of plans for 2020, and nothing. Yeah, everything is getting canceled. And which is was a real heartbreaker for family back in the U.S., because this is going to be a nice year to visit many people, and yeah, it's just not possible. Especially once they announced in Japan, yeah, fine, you can leave, foreigners can leave, but we may not let you back in. We don't care what kind of credentials you have, what kind of visa, what kind of anything. We may just decide we're not ready to let you back in. So that was a little scary, because those sorts of borders. That's the only thing that you try not to think about, like living abroad and being international, is how easy that those rules can just get in your way. It's like it would be very easy for the government here to not let me see my wife and kid in Japan, just because of some immigration rule or whatever. That's really amazing because you don't have that. I never thought about that, anything like that in the U.S., and it's crazy here that they could actually do that, make it very difficult to travel if they wanted to, and for whatever reason, for economic reasons or weather-related reasons, anything can trigger that. But yeah, that gets I think it's a little creepy when you realize you don't have control over those kind of real basic things. But that's the always the weird part of living abroad is you're out of your element, and the rules don't the rules apply differently to you. And if they decide, the nice thing is that in recent history, Japan has been they've needed foreigners, so they've been a little bit more polite about it. They've been a little bit more supportive, but I can imagine some countries it can get a little dicey, and suddenly you need to pay this money, or you need to leave, or all kinds of fun stuff can happen. Alright. Oh, I can't do that at the bottom because it's going to screw up my... Well, I'll color it if I'm going to use it. Well, oh, hey, yeah. Asian murder hornets. We've had Asian murder hornets forever. We've got a nest somewhere behind our house. We've got this idiot neighbor that they have this gorgeous... They own the whole hillside behind us, like kind of the and it's all this beautiful manicured garden, and then but at the very border between our properties, maybe like about 10 feet or whatever, they just let whatever happen, and it's not our property, and I think there's even like part of the land that the city owns, but they don't do anything with it. So there's this huge tree that has this vine growing up it that I think those murder hornets love. So because it flowers, a vine that flowers, and so yeah, you'll get they're literally red hornets that are this big. Like they sound like small. They sound like drones, actually, like drones. And I guess they've got like a ridiculously painful sting, and because they're not bees, they can sting you many times. And we get those occasionally. They'll come up on our balcony, and when we've got the blinds open, they'll just you'll hear like it sounds like a bird hitting the window, and they'll just knock into the windows really hard, so it sounds like somebody threw a rock at your window but didn't break it. And so they're trying to get in, and they're trying to find places to build nests, but and unfortunately we didn't have a really cold winter, so it should kill them off every year, and then they kind of rebuild. But I don't know this year. But they're huge. They're huge. I haven't I've killed a couple with spray and stuff that start looking around at the side of the house to try to build something. But they're just like really gigantic wasps. And I've just heard that their sting is really bad, and it's really dangerous for kids. So kids or small animals can be killed, like dogs and babies can it can be a little bit too much for them, especially if they have a reaction. But I haven't had any direct experience, but I've seen plenty and had to, deal with some on the side of the house, just because there's some weird vine that they really love on the properties between us and the bizarre neighbors. But so that sucks. And so they must be from deeper Asia, and that's the thing, like Australia has to deal with this too, but Japan, being the island, has to be real sensitive about stuff that gets here, but all kinds of stuff gets here. They're just giant hornets. I don't know. They're fat red giant hornets. The color is really disturbing too. They're bright red, but they make a lot of noise. Yeah, they're really noisy, and they're heavy too. That when they I guess like always, you have hornets and yellow jackets and stuff like clinking against the against the windows. You always hear that kind of thing when they're looking around. But these things hit hard. It sounds like somebody throwing like nuts or small rocks at your windows. But yeah, it's not nice because it makes it. I mean, we don't have much of a yard. We just have like a little terraced area around the back of the house, so we don't have like a yard that my daughter would play in. But I wouldn't want her playing back there anyhow, because I have no idea where those things are coming from. And the city makes it real painful. Like you have to like identify specifically the location of their nest and like take a picture of it basically and send it to them. That you can't have the city come and try to find the source of a nest. So you got to wait until the worst possible situation where your house is covered with those things. But yeah, but they've been in Japan ever since I've been here. So yeah, where everyone's kind of used to that. Yeah, it would be the tree that they might be part of though is huge. I mean, it's like hundreds of feet. It's this giant, probably the oldest tree kind of in the area. So if they're anywhere in that tree, I have no idea how we would get to them, because it's like a sheer hillside with a big tree growing out of it, covered with a vine that flowers and attracts those fucking wasps, those hornets. But yeah. If I wasn't warned about them, I wouldn't have even known what that was. Like the first time I saw them, yeah, really. I mean, that's the thing. When we first moved here, that was the thing that this weird neighbor immediately did. Is that, please don't tell me to cut down the tree. Please don't tell me to cut down the tree. It was like, why? That's a nice tree. Whatever. I'm not going to tell you to cut down your tree. But I guess everybody that's ever dealt with them has wanted them to cut that tree down, or at least maintain it. Like at least prune it and trim it back, because it has these huge limbs, that were coming over the roof of our house, and one of them did blow off in a typhoon, and luckily it hit their house. It blew their direction instead of our direction. But yeah, they have some weird unmaintained areas. Yeah, the Tesla flamethrower. That would be perfect. Yeah, but they're pretty. The kind of wasp sprays and things that they have in Japan are effective against them, so they're not like these super immune insects, so that you can kill them pretty easy. I haven't tried to actually crush one. Actually, because I'd be surprised how hard their little exoskeleton is. I'm sure they're pretty. Tough. But yeah, I've seen a bit of them. It's funny that they're starting to show up in other places. Who knows? I mean, people. Where were they from? Cambodia or something? I forget. It was but one of my friends was saying that they had a client, that they deal with international shipping, and they had a client that visited them from some other Southeast Asian country. And they literally brought through customs an entire suitcase of just mangoes that they picked off of a tree, threw in a suitcase, and brought into Japan. And that is just like a nightmare for the ecosystem here, the ecosystem that has it's got a pretty delicate hold on things. So you get these these weird contaminations from people just bringing in random plants and things. But I'm sure that's how they're spreading everywhere, and they eat them in China. I saw a video about the Chinese murder, the delicious Chinese murder hornet. So I guess they're meaty enough, like grubs or whatever, that they've got something to eat on them. Yeah. Oh yeah. Next time there's a dead one on the balcony, I'll get. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it's starting to warm up, so I'm sure they're going to become, they're reproducing and becoming more active now. No. The drone with the flamethrower. I haven't seen that. I saw somebody that rigged a drone with a, I forget what it was. If it was like a 9mm or something, they rigged like something that would actually like pull the trigger on a handgun, and the recoil on the handgun like kicked the drone back every time it fired, but it still stayed airborne. I don't know how accurate it would be. But no, I haven't seen the flamethrower. Yeah, that's definitely what I need here. I should just get a drone that can just burn, yeah, burn down anything. Yeah, but I'll take a look, and yeah, if I get my hands on one of those things, and yeah, and if I find the nest this summer, I'll definitely take video of it, and I can share that with you guys. Share my adventures with those things, but. Yeah, it's every year. There's some, so there's probably, a nest or a queen that keeps repopulating every season around here somewhere. I'm not sure. I haven't read enough about them, so I'm not sure if they uh, go underground, or she just like crawls. Maybe she just like lives inside that tree, or lives inside something that's very easy for them, the hillside or something, and just keeps coming back every year. But yeah, especially when my daughter was really young, that was scary that existed. Yeah, but that's another present from Asia. It's funny, wasn't there? I still remember the Africanized bees of the 90s, 80s, or 90s. So that was like very, racist ways to call bees, and especially when they would say things like, they're just more aggressive and more, and now it's going to be Asianized bees, Asian murder bees, Asian murder hornets. Yeah, yeah. That's true. I have live footage of murder hornets, or I can become the that woman that lived with the gorillas. I can live amongst the murder hornets and document them daily, and I'll name each one of them as they mercilessly sting me. Yeah. Yeah, they've been around if you're in the countryside at all in Japan, and they probably came over from other parts of Asia a long time ago and just couldn't be helped. Yeah, it's sad too, because I've heard that there's a disease. I'm not sure if it's a fungus or what kind of exactly, like a parasite, some kind of disease that came over to Japan that their cherry blossom trees are very susceptible to. So the new cherry blossom trees that they plant are a different hybrid. They're not as beautiful, they don't flower as much, but they also are resistant to whatever is killing the older trees. And that's very sad, because that's a very heavy cultural thing for Japan, and to have some foreign infection wiping things out really sucks. But they've gotten, Asia has some really aggressive insects and animals, and so when they get things infesting over here, like there's certain beetles and things that they get over here, because kids like beetle collecting and like raising beetles, like especially in the summer, and so they'll try to get more and more different varieties and exotic looking beetles, and you bring them over as pets, and kids aren't particularly responsible with them, or they just release them, or they get out of their little enclosures, and then you've got these beetles that their favorite thing to eat is like the most valuable trees or whatever in Japan, and they get a lot of those kind of weird infestations that are all based on mostly the pet industry, because kids like to fight little like stag beetles and giant beetles. They love to fight them. Yeah, no, I think so too. It was just like this weird, like racial thing that they would talk about. These bees are becoming more and more aggressive. I was like, I don't know how you measure that. These aggressive bees. Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny how easily things can get thrown off. Like you have those Chinese river fish or whatever, those freshwater fish that just totally, once they infest lakes and stuff, just totally dominate. I forget what they were, like Chinese needlefish or something, and they will just kill everything. So you'll just end up with a big, especially like man-made lakes or ponds. You'll have just a big, a body of water just full of Chinese needlefish because they kill everything else off. Yeah, I think we'll do a picture and glasses. Something like that will work. Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's weird. Those stories. I mean, they don't have to worry about making. Well, it's weird that they're doing. Yeah, there's Asian murder hornets now. Are they worried that people aren't afraid of the weather enough now that they need to come up? Oh, so small. That they need to come up with other scary things from Asia, or just maybe scary things from Asia are in vogue. So why not get the murder hornets out? Just when you thought a virus was not enough, Asia is attacking with their murder hornets. Were the murder hornets genetically engineered in a lab to conquer the West and sting them mercilessly? Yeah, it's odd. I think I want to change the shape of that a little bit. Yeah, it's really, I'm just, no, yeah, usually, once I started doing the stream regularly, sometimes I'll have an idea, like a joke or an idea in my head, and I want to specifically draw that, and sometimes that doesn't work so well, but, yeah, recently I've just kind of let my kind of warm up, and whatever I start drawing. Oh, sorry, the microphone just slipped. Sorry about that. So that we were listening to my knee. That wasn't even. Wow. There we go. Yeah, so I just let the drawing kind of suggest stuff, and so some of the cartoons get a little random because of that, but that's kind of been how things are. Recently, just the tone of the cartoon has a weird randomness because I'm just inspired by the little bit of drawing that I do at the beginning. But yes. Exactly. Joe knows the truth. Yeah, but I'm the thing that would be the most depressing about getting on the other side of this health crisis that we're having now is that nothing changes. Like, we go back to exactly how things were before, because everything that's been shown about how ineffective like the media is on covering these things, especially like health issues and important information, how bad the government is about preparing people and warning people and being ready for anything, and then also like, international relations. I mean, a lot of stuff has to change because of this, and I'm really worried that nothing will change, that everyone will just want to go back to business as usual, because that's good for Wall Street, that's good for your retirement plans, because they're all connected to Wall Street. So there's a large group of Americans, not a large group, a powerful group of Americans, and not in a conspiratory way. I mean, a bunch of retired boomers and things that are living off of investments now that don't want to rock the boat. So we're just going to go back to, China as usual. And oh yeah, I'll keep an eye out if any messages get censored. I'll bring up some of the YouTube channel. Be easy. There we go. But yeah, I'm just worried that nothing's going to change, and that'll be the most depressing part of this. Is it just means this will be what, an once a decade event, or every 20 years we'll have this, because it'll start to kind of exponentially get worse and less treatable. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this the information age that we are in. It's definitely not great for what we're going through now, because it's too easy to confuse it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried. I'm yeah. It seems like a lot of things will be destroyed. Well, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of takeover of corporations and large businesses, large companies eating up smaller companies that couldn't survive this, and there also might be like this whole entire class of people, somebody that would work at McDonald's or just do some unskilled labor thing that are going to be completely unemployable. I guess the Andrew Yang prediction of robots and automation will make us all obsolete, but that it's going to eliminate an entire, because if you eliminate things like trucking, like in the not international but the what is that called, interstate trucking, and a lot of the big businesses that have supported families for so long in the US, if you start to eliminate those sorts of things by automating things or changing supply chains and how things work, it's going to get real fucked up real fast, and they're going to have to but sorry, I'm just reading Joe's comment. Is worried about being censored with his murder bee sex scenario. But there's just going to be people that are just going to be now excluded from participating, and it's going to be weird because if you take the American dream element out of America, where people that have nothing dream of having it all someday and never give up that dream, so it keeps them working garbage jobs and working harder than they should for people that they shouldn't even be working for. If you take that illusion away that someday you'll make it, someday things will be better, the credit card industry will collapse. Once people get smart with their money and conservative about and actually have savings and things, they're just not going to participate in the same way. And it's just weird but then you're going to have this whole like class of people that know they're fucked, like kind of like more British style, like UK style, where there's people that are born working class and know they're fucked and never gonna be able to change their lives, and just are stuck to it. But there's not even going to be work for those. It's not even going to be a working class. It's just going to be this class of people that the government just has to support, so that UBI, the universal basic income thing, like everyone's going to get a check just to survive, because the country cannot guarantee you employment, and they want you to vote for them still. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be, it'll be strange. I mean, it will be wonderful if you can live anywhere in the country, so you can live someplace. You can have a 6-figure job working for a big company in a big city, a big expensive city, but then do it from a huge house in the countryside that costs nothing to maintain and has no property taxes or anything. That would be beautiful. I mean, I tried to almost do that after leaving Los Angeles, and just, fortunately was laid off within a year because we got bought by MySpace. No, Fox. We got bought by Fox. MySpace bought us, and then Fox bought MySpace. And then they eliminated the animation department. But I was doing that for a little while. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be real weird to see, what happens on the other end of this. I just hope, I just hope that America isn't stupid enough to, no matter how much of a lie it is, to kill the idea of, maybe, one of these on the side. Kill the idea of, through your hard work and perseverance, you can make it. Because once that's gone, I think there's a lot of, the rest of the lie of America will become apparent. And those are gonna be tough times. I think just spiritually or existentially for America to lose that, because that's the thing that even other countries have always envied, is how optimistic. I think it was some British comedian or something, said that was the thing that's most amazing about Americans, is you can pull up in a Ferrari or Lamborghini or some, out of reach car, a car that most people will never be able to afford, in a city, and a working class guy on the street will compliment your car and tell you everything he knows about the car that you're driving, even though he doesn't own one, because someday that's his dream. Someday he will, and so he wants to, that's what he's interested in, and that's what he wants to do. And so Americans, live in that classless way where it's like, yeah, so of course, someday, if that's what I want to do, and if I just work hard enough or get lucky, I'll have that. And once Americans give up that idea, it's going to be crazy. Yeah. This is the downtime where you can just start doing all the construction. There's a lot of construction going on here too. It's the only people that are, I guess they're working basically outside until you finish. Then you're inside. But people are basically working. It's not a limit. It's not a type of work that's going to get limited. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't know when we will be on the other end of this. I mean, what if this goes on? Because they said that with reinfection and stuff, and because it was carried by soldiers back to their home countries, like after the Great War, after World War One, that the Spanish flu, there was like 2 years of it, 2 years of new cases and things. So I don't think we can shut down the world for 2 years. There might be some interruptions in the food supply chain that will be affected by that. Jeez. But I don't know when we're going to say it's over, and if anyone's even going to believe it. That's going to be the crazy thing. No, but I mean, it's a lie. I mean, the American dream is a lie, but it's that optimism. I'm not talking about like actually believing in that, but that optimism is a characteristic of America that's contagious, and that all foreign people do admire. And I mean, and because America was an experiment, a kind of bizarre European experiment, and it's just an optimism that if that goes away, America is going to get real dark real fast. Because if we're not optimistic, then we're just a bunch of criminals. So that's the scary part. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I hope things that things work out for the better. That things actually do get better, at least more realistic. That people have a better idea of their place, and there can be political reform and things to help people have more of a life that they want. But it's hard to tell, and it's hard to tell. I don't think the people that are managing this crisis have any interest in losing any of their power, no matter how incompetently things are done. So we'll see. I don't know. I can't believe how disappointing. This is a time where if somebody in American politics just kind of stepped up and said some things that made sense, and actually was able to be a little bit more, reassuring, and could just give people the feeling that this will end, and things are going to be okay. I think they would have an insanely good career after this, but we just don't have anybody. It's so funny, and people are taking advantage of. There's a lot of stocks that have lost a lot of value that people are now taking advantage of, hoping that things will be fine on the other side. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I just hope that instead of this saying, well, yeah, we'll make affordable healthcare. There shouldn't be affordable healthcare. There should just be automatic healthcare. That Affordable Healthcare Act is such a weird lie. It's just like, well, if the insurance companies can charge less but can make everybody pay, then that's affordable healthcare, right? It's just insane. I mean, as a student, any money to pay for health insurance was insane. Just like that. I couldn't. I was living so hand to mouth as a student. I couldn't even imagine paying anything for health insurance, and then to make it mandatory and like, well, it's cheap, it's affordable now. What is affordable? When I was a student, zero was affordable, and so the expansion of Medicare just does, and especially again this crisis, seems like a better option. Just like, yeah, Medicare is going to take care of anybody that has any weather-related problems. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, there hasn't been any murder or assault based on masks. Yeah, I think people, the worst it gets in Japan is people just, yeah, try to give you a mean, disapproving look if you aren't wearing your mask. But yeah, it's definitely a different situation. It's just so weird, and you've got people that are using this whole. Oh wait, all the sides are empty. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of. But yeah, everyone is now virtue signaling that they're doing the right thing by wearing a mask, and why aren't you? And you're killing your grandmother, and based on nothing. We don't have any great information. We're still waiting for decent information about how this whole situation is working. But people still, the little information they have, are using it to socially punish each other. Oh. Yeah, because we're also, not a country of... Yeah, we're also not only a country of thieves and opportunists, but of religious fanatics too. So that's the other fun part of America is people love to tell each other how to live, because it's part of the kind of original thing. People in Europe didn't want to hear it, so they came to America to establish a way to tell people how to live their own funny way. But it's weird though how you still see that. That's so part of American culture. People want to tell you how to parent. They want to tell you how to wear a mask, how to do everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out, and it's the one thing that I'm happy about is Japan is not a country of radical change, radical social reform, so nothing big is going to change here. They want things to be as similar as possible. It's so weird. I was watching old film footage from like wartime Japan, like the 40s. It looks really similar to how Japan looks now. So Japan has looked the same for about 80 years. It's school uniforms and city streets and everything look very, very similar. I mean, people don't have their noses in their smartphones, but it looks very similar. So yeah, this is not a radical, the home of radical reformers. So that's a little bit comforting because, yeah, America can move pretty fast, socially and politically, and if there's the right, right motivation behind it, we can see some things change pretty quick. It might be a little scary, if depending on how it goes. Yeah, but finally taking advantage of broadband internet, or always on, pretty fast internet. Finally taking advantage of that would be nice, because it's stupid that modern companies and modern cities are still making people commute. They spend all that time stuck in a car. Ah, yeah. Wow, dog, that's lovely. Yeah, yeah. It's a funny thing. That's a uniquely American thing, and it's funny that people feel that they can tell you, you know, how you should be living or what you should be doing, and compared to other countries, it's much more likely that you could be carrying the means of their death. You could be insane, and you can attack them much more effectively than you could in other countries, and people still can't keep their mouths shut. Yeah, yeah. America, but that's, I think that's a uniquely, what's oh that's right. I think that's a unique thing that comes from America's weird religious religious basis, is that there is an American, according to some people, there's this American way to do things that they want to make sure that you're doing. Yeah, because you don't see that so much. Because I don't know. It's I don't know what is the better part of that. Okay. Yeah, there aren't not boxes that have this all on every side. Mostly there's a back. Yeah, I guess I should change this because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the windows are usually only around parts of it, so there's always a back, probably for support too. Ugh. See that Jane's got good optimism. Yeah, we will see. We very possibly could see some radical reform in the U.S., and it will be an interesting time. May you live in interesting times. It may be interesting. It might be painful. There may be what's going on. I want to. It may be there may be some painful readjustment, but it could be it could all be for the best in the end. So we will see. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the back window out of all of these so it looks more like a... Hopefully they still make sense. Yeah, that's true. Change. What was that? I just watched, it just came on Japanese Netflix, the David Lynch Dune, the Sleeper, the Duke Leto's speech to Paul about if we, if we don't change, then something sleeps inside of us. So change is a necessary thing, and I think it's been long overdue in some ways. Like in America, culturally, we've had so much development of technology, and the way people live hasn't benefited from it as much as it could have. Whoa. So we'll see. Yeah, I like your thinking, Jane. I think that's a good way to be. Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, Sedona, the window boxes. Yeah, those kind of weird display window boxes that usually contain something that they want you to see, and I think this needs to be a little lower. Yeah, those especially like Entenmann's boxes and stuff, where you can see the cakes and everything right inside. Oh, Entenmann's. Oh, that's brutal. I haven't had that in a long time. What's going on? Yeah, try this. All right. These are just those display boxes that have, like they'll have what, dolls or miniature Christmas trees or something. It's something that they want to be able to see through. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they read as. They look like lanterns or something. A cockroach tattoo. Nice. Oh, nice. Oh, that's excellent. Thank you, K5. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, like cake boxes or, yeah, what you would be showing, displaying your donuts in. Yeah, maybe donuts would be the best. The best thing. Yeah, maybe a donut would save the save the viewer some struggle in trying to figure out what they're looking at. A little bit bigger. There we go. Wow, I guess I can just resize it and just draw it and get the line width. Then we can scale it after. Oh, it's actually not too bad. A little bit smaller. Yeah, these are going to be donut boxes now, aren't they? Right, that's what they look like. Oh no. Snakes in the garden. Do you have poisonous snakes where you are, Sedona? Yeah, I like areas that have snakes, but nothing venomous. Venomous. Nothing dangerous to people. All right. Yeah. Okay, but I think once I color them too, they'll make a little bit more sense. Oh, it's kind of big, isn't it? Everything just a little bit smaller because the lines are so thick. All right. Come on. Something about refills, I don't know. Yeah, that's a weird thing. There are no refills here, no free refills in Japan. And to make it easier to carry, if it's like fast food or whatever, they only fill it maybe 3/4 of the way full. So if you get a drink from any place with ice, 3/4 of the way full, and no refills. That's the worst. Oh, it's good. Yeah, right. Uh, nice. Yeah, snakes. Yeah, that's I think they just have little tiny snakes. I haven't seen any snakes here. Oh, yeah, they had a raccoon problem. What was it in the 80s? Like in the late 80s in Japan, there was some movie about just like cute little raccoon family, and so people started like the pet problem again. People started importing North American raccoons, of course babies, as pets, and I think because the exotic animal license kind of stuff isn't, it's different here. So the pet industry can get like marmosets and all kinds of like little monkeys and things. And there's owls. People have owls as pets here, but there was some popular animated movie in the theaters about a family of raccoons, and some people wanted to start having raccoons as pets. And of course, raccoons are pretty tough and obnoxious, and they can bite and scratch you and get out of control pretty fast. So once they're not babies anymore, maybe they bite the kids and then you just throw them outside. And so they had kind of infestations of raccoons in Japan, and they don't especially if they infest like a temple, like a Buddhist temple or something, they won't kill them. They'll just live and let live. So you had some temples and buildings that were infested with families of raccoons that they wouldn't do anything about. So that was very funny. I'm sure the government quietly started a seek and destroy campaign against raccoons, because there's not raccoons so much here anymore. But yeah, that was once a thing. Let's see how these color. Yeah, something's open. But yeah, I thought that was really funny. There was no. Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, Japan can kind of have it both ways. They've got their whaling industry. They love killing dolphins and whales, but they are pretty kind to animals that we would just eliminate as pests. They're a little bit more tolerant. So I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what that is. So inside of the box is going to have to be darker from the shadow, but let's see how this looks. Yeah, I think I bet that back wall looks better like that. So all of this. Oh, and maybe this too. Yeah. Okay, we'll see how this works. I might want to change that color. Yeah, maybe I'll just do it like a light blue. Yeah, like a bluish white, so it has a little, well, it's very blue, so it has a little more contrast. Yeah, there we go. That works. Alright. And this has to be a chocolate donut, right? Those little Entenmann's chocolate donuts. Wow. I have a feeling if I move back to the US for any length of time that my weight would fluctuate. Oh, jeez. That's crazy. Yeah, of course. The rats are probably, yeah, having the worst time with the restaurant. Yeah, because, all that trash, like the restaurants get rid of so much edible trash that keeps everything alive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, God. Hungry rats. I mean, literally, you wouldn't want a child to be around a group of starving rats. That's crazy. I mean, that could actually be dangerous. the the rats could actually be, dangerous to sleeping people if they got hungry enough. Yeah, because rats eat dead bodies. So if you're in a heroin nod on the in a park or in a someplace in a city and a hungry band of rats comes looking for you, holy mackerel, that could be brutal. All right. Oh, yeah, put this on a different layer. I don't remember what any of this looks like, so I'm just gonna kind of improvise. Oh, would it be the same side? Yeah, maybe that would make the most sense. Oh, hello. There we go. Wow. Yeah, right. Apocalypse bingo. Yeah, that's good. Wow, could be a wonderfully unexpected result of all this. Hungry rats. Little did we know that we were just hostages to the swarms of hungry rats that lived in the cities. We had to just keep feeding them with our restaurant trash before they decided to go after us. All right. Yeah, it's weird here. They don't. Everything is a mouse. So the word Nezumi is rat, mouse, anything. I don't think they have gigantic rats here. So mostly it's just mice, but everything is a mouse. So Mickey Mouse is both a mouse and a rat. But yeah, there's not a big distinction, which is funny. Oh, wait, they'd be up here. Jeez. Well, I guess it depends if it was open from the bottom. And actually, they open like that, don't they? But yeah, whatever. Yeah, this isn't right, is it? That's not right. Oh, it's right. Yeah, that's the other bizarre thing that came out of this is like $50, 50 cents a barrel crude oil. It's like nobody wants. We don't have any way to store it. We don't have any way to deal with this. Just get rid of it. Yeah, there's just not enough storage for all the oil, especially with nobody going anywhere. Yeah, with travel being down. Wait a minute, I can't. I'm breaking my brain trying to do this here. And then here. Yeah, that works. Because then it looks like it's opened from the right side, I think. Oh, that looks terrible. What is wrong with me today? Let's see. Actually, that would be, yeah, the front. So the front, yeah, that would be there. Just doesn't look right. Just put it over this way, though. There we go. All right. Wow. Yeah. Whole bunch of nothing. Yeah, this was gonna be a great year. Well, and then I got sick right at the end of 2019. So that was. I wonder if that was because I was around a lot of Chinese people. I wonder if that was some kind of because the flu test that I had was negative, but I felt worse than I've ever felt in my life, and they said it was a hyper immune system reaction. There was nothing, there was nothing to call it. They just said, yeah, your immune system is attacking you, and that was one of the wonderful symptoms of the bad weather. It's so funny. It's everybody is thinking. It's like, did I have it? Have I gotten it? That's all anybody is thinking right now. But yeah, I felt insanely bad. And haven't gotten the flu here ever before. I survived the swine flu and all the wonderful flus that we had here, bird and whatever. And so that was weird to get so knocked down. But that convinced me that I was going to do lots of things in 2020, like stay home for 2 months. It's crazy. Yeah, and creatively it's been terrible. I mean, I would, in any other time in my life, be so happy to have this much time that I just, needed to do kind of the minimum work and then could just focus on, anything I wanted to do creatively, and I've just got nothing. Whoops. Yeah, I think just because it's the uncertainty of things. Is the donut on the... Yeah. Uncertainty of things just makes it... being creative feel really unimportant. Oh, apple fritter, nice. I gotta go with the Mr. Donut chocolate coconut, or just the double chocolate. But those chocolate cake donuts at Mr. Donut, they do it for me. But these Entenmann's, the cake donuts, I guess they're like yellow cake donuts with that almost black chocolate frosting on them. That's good stuff too. I haven't had one of those in a while. Are those called something? What are those? Just they're small donuts. Oh, that's right. They're small, aren't they? Well, I'm drawing a giant version. But yeah. Yeah, that's a weird thing that donuts are. Donut shops are popular in Japan because donuts are incredibly heavy for Japanese people, but they eat them. Krispy Kreme, yeah, made it here, so that's still amazing to me. There we go. Now you can see the shininess of the... Maybe some donut crumbs would help. Oh, we should go down here. It's just kind of a messy, dirty. Oh well. Doesn't look like donut crumbs, does it? Does that read enough like a donut? Yeah, I guess it's not too dark. Hey, Kegs. Kegs wants to see a cake. Nice. Ooh, voodoo donuts. Oh yeah, yeah. Donuts are like sometimes $1.50, $2 a piece here. Mostly like $2, I think. Yeah. Ooh, strawberry sprinkles. Whoa. Yeah, the donuts are pretty pricey here. A dozen donuts would be almost, it would be like $20, I think. Yeah, so you don't ever buy a dozen, I think. Yeah, voodoo donuts. Nice. Uh, but oh, I should do some. There should be some more shadows. Yeah, this side needs some shadow. All right. Ah, nice. Thanks for stopping by. Next time I'll when I'm more in the drawing mode. I'm just in color mode right now, but I'll uh, I'll draw. Okay, they have funny mini kegs here too. I think that's mostly what they have, and they even have like for weddings they have a backpack where you put a little mini keg on your back, and then you run around uh, with the little dispenser, the little nozzle to fill people's beers at a wedding. A beer backpack specifically for wedding receptions. I guess because that's a thing. That's how you socialize at a lot of drinking events. Is you just fill people's drinks for them, because you're not supposed to. If you're drinking, you're not supposed to fill your own drink, because that means you're a terrible alcoholic. I don't know. It's just to control so that people are like caring about you and control how much you drink. You're supposed to just let people fill your drink. You're not supposed to pour your own. You're supposed to let other people do it. And it's also a way to kind of work the room, to kind of socialize with everybody, is just fill everybody's drinks. But it doesn't always work out that way. So they do have like little kegs you can wear on your back. It's true. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah, see how badly I screwed this up. Nice. Excellent. Very cool. No one drank. Oh no. That's too funny. What is going on? I guess, yeah, I'm a little bit of a lag. Thanks so much, Cakes. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be doing this. Hope you're staying safe and things are relatively normal, or get back to normal as soon as possible. All right. Oh wow, Voodoo Donuts. There we go. Oops. There it is. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get too crazy with the shadows. I think there's probably some stuff I could Yeah, do to fill the stuff in a little bit better. Just do this back wall. I think that helps. What the? I can't stay on the same layer or anything now. There we go. Wow. Yeah, this donut talk. I shouldn't be drawing donuts. It's not healthy for any of us to be dreaming about donuts this much. Oh, I'm gonna have to get donuts. I gotta go grocery shopping right after this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to buy donuts now. That's the worst. Yeah, I've been pretty good, and it's also good. That's the one thing that's helped me a lot about Japan is junk food is really expensive. It's not super cheap, like it is in the US. So if you want to eat badly, it's really expensive. So that helps me not be so stupid. But if I'm still self-quarantining, I'm going to have to do it with donuts now. Oh, yeah. A little bit of this on the edge. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that would be excellent if Japan legalized marijuana like when I was hitting my 70s and just like kind of done doing stuff. That would be perfect because then I would just my entire retirement would be junk food and pot. Although I imagine like recreational marijuana would be so expensive in Japan. Everything, because they really kind of punish. There's kind of a weird built-in luxury tax to things that you don't need. So entertainment and things are very expensive. They do it to protect their domestic market for some things, but they also kind of punish you for buying stuff you really don't need, and so it's extra expensive. So I could imagine, although alcohol, well, yeah, alcohol prices are not great, but if it was equivalent to that, but that would be great if they legalized pot, but only for you had to be like retirement age. That would be perfect. So we're not worried about you being productive anymore. We just want you to chill out. I don't think so. Yeah, Sedona. I don't think they can here because it's different. It's different in America. He coughs in here. It's different than in America. The way like they over criminalized marijuana for like political reasons. They didn't do that here, and mostly they're just worried about because it's like being in like being in a little drug-free zone in the middle of Afghanistan or whatever, where you've got just like poppies growing all over. You've got like opium fields basically surrounding you. Like Japan is in a sea of countries that are growing all kinds of crazy illegal substances. So if they open it, it's going to have to be super heavily controlled if they do ever open it, if they do ever legalize it. And I think they would just be worried that it would just welcome in too much other, like that Japan would have its own, opioid crisis and things, because it's right there. It's really, really accessible. Being grown all over Asia. Because once you get to the continent, not even Southeast Asia, but once you get to the continent, there's a lot of opium production and all kinds of things. And I think from the lesson from, it almost destroyed China, opium addiction. So think that's what they're afraid of. And I don't know if that's a very realistic fear, because always that, it being a gateway or whatever, but just, being, because there are going to be then importers, and if it's legalized, then I don't think Japan could supply it completely domestically, so they would import it, and then it would encourage importation, or at least smuggling of other things. And I don't know, I think they're just too worried about the productivity of their kind of working age people, and would worry that that might hurt it. Not that alcohol isn't destroying people's health here, but I think they would just worry about the productivity. But who knows? I mean, once we're on the other side of this, maybe there is no more, there's no such thing as productivity anymore on the other side of this. We'll see what's going on. There we go. Yeah, but it's a very different, different relationship. Yeah, I think, plant-wise, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, think about all of uh, the illegal, the power that is given, like, to, just like Mexican drug cartels, and just as, I mean, there's a drug cartel version of in every culture, in every country, that is benefiting artificially from this market that shouldn't exist. It shouldn't exist as an illegal market, because it could all, I don't know, it could all be run as a legitimate business. And then the same way that have to determine, well, this is dangerous for people, you have to start putting labels on heroin to be careful not to limit your know your limits, know your amounts. But I don't know, it is a weird thing, that how many people have had to die, or how many people have been subjugated by gangs and groups of people that have specifically used, do some pink lemonade, that have used, their main source of income has been narcotics, has been drugs. And if you could have changed how that was dealt with, how many lives it would have saved, or how it would have changed the welfare of many people. Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, if you were, wow, because I imagine you had, if you're growing medicinal, you had contracts and things, and once that changed, once that legislation changed, that could have, really, really ruined things. And I don't know. But then you have to trust the government. Once you legalize something, then you're inviting taxation, and also inviting the government into making decisions about it, and who knows. And then there's going to be those reactions. You're going to have historical reactions like prohibition in the US, where there's going to be these like social movements that will attack drug use, and who knows what whoa who knows what incompetent new problems would be created with too much government involvement. But it's just I guess that's preferable to letting cartels run it. I don't know. Yeah, because it's funny that, like, they kind of figured that out about gambling, that if they don't allow it, and also make things like lotteries and things, or that it's just going to happen illegally. It's going to happen without their control, and other people are going to make money on it. They figured that out. We have Indian casinos and riverboat casinos and lottery multimillionaires. But they haven't figured that out about drugs. And I guess spent so long spreading lies and kind of misconceptions about things. It's a little bit difficult to step back and say, "Oh yeah, remember everything we told you about the devil weed?" Well, that wasn't true. Reefer madness was a lie. Oh wow, banned outdoor growing. That's crazy, kegs. So wow, so everything's got to be. So you got to build, yeah, buildings to actually be a grower. Wow, I wonder what the yeah. That's crazy. I wonder what the thinking of that was. Yeah, California is funny. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because yeah, that limitate the barrier to entry, the financial barrier to entry to become a grower is so much more. Oh, okay, yes, yes, yes. Something ice cubes would be good. Yeah, the barrier to entry would then make it so that the market was only run by the bigger companies that could afford it. That sucks. Yeah, America's really good at doing that kind of insidious market control. It's like, no, it's anybody can do anything they want. Well, if you know have $1 million, if you can pay the $1 million entry fee, you can participate in our open market. uh, all right. Yeah, let's see how Spartan this is looking. Yeah, it's just a refill joke. I like, yeah, ice cubes is good. Let me see what I can do with ice cubes. Stop jumping. There we go. If I can do kind of a minimalist ice cube take, that might be cool. Oh, and also maybe sweat the glasses a little bit. Do something like this. And then bring it down a little bit. Yeah, that reads as a nice cube. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, it can't be too transparent. And I'll try to hit those with a highlight. And maybe it has to be just white. There we go. That reads as ice, I believe. All right. I wanted to... That's not working at all. Yeah, there. Get that black a little bit. Okay, let's see if I can fit eyes on these. Oh, they're really wide, aren't they? Yeah, let's move this up. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that bottom detail, but a despondent picture works pretty well. That works okay. They can just be looking at each other and a little more worried. Flintstones eyesight. Oof. Nice neighbors, yeah. I don't think I've ever had a neighbor that I fondly remember. It's good to have distant neighbors. That was the nice thing about living in the countryside. Your neighbors are barely visible in the distance. All right. Flintstones ice cubes. Oh, actually, what's going on here? Give me the zoom there. Do a little here. Oh yeah, maybe this is help bury give me some depth on those ice cubes a little bit. All right, and these guys, yeah, they'll be all finished. No more ice, so that works. Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be the damage that's gonna be done yet with people seeing this opportunity if they've got capital that they can then take anybody struggling and everything's gonna become a chain of something. That really sucks. All right. Yeah, I think that's working. Okay, so let's take a quick look at last week's comments. I hope I hope there are some. We'll find out. So switch over. Boom. And let me switch sides here. I think that makes it a little easier. No, it's about the same. Okay. So the two from last week, of course, are massive candles. So May 7th, once the power was restored, they sat in the smoky awkward. They just sat in the smoky awkwardness. Oh, 13 likes and a comment. But boy, were they lit. Oh, nice. Ed's always got, he gets it. He always has a funny take. And before that, May 5th, the ice cream. Oh, that's right, yeah. Ice cream. Once broken up, ice cream cones rarely got back together. And Ed, again, I love Ed. He faithfully has read this comic, perhaps, but in my place they don't go to waste. Nice. Yeah, I think this one got out late. The one that was on the 5th, just like the one today is going to get out late. The one for the 12th. Thanks. Yeah, the candles from last week. I just kept drawing candles and more candles, and yeah, it just happened. And then K5 gave me the idea, the power idea, because I had no idea like why they were all just blown out, but yeah, it's because they were being used as a light source. All right, so let's try a couple of randoms. Oh, I did a painting. I did a huge, like 4 foot by 3 foot acrylic painting of this cartoon. So, on a wall in a very expensive apartment in Japan, I believe that this this cartoon exists in it was on panel, so I did just acrylic on a wood panel, but the panel was prepared like gesso, like white gesso with a big bright gumball machine on it. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get a picture of that. That would be fun for the website, is a picture of some of this stuff. Yes, the gumball machine knew everything had its price. A deliciously bad joke. Great stuff. Nice. Breast awareness lemonade. Yes, exactly. Breast cancer awareness. I think everyone's aware of breasts, but yeah, breast cancer awareness. Yeah, that's what I want to start, is a month of just breast awareness, just in general. It's not, you don't have to think about any horrible diseases. It's just a awareness of breasts. All right, a deliciously bad joke. Well, that's good. Whoa, look at that. A CD player. Once music became downloadable, he stopped trusting it. Because then it's on the down low. Fearful of subliminal messaging, are we? Shiny things. Oh, yeah. I actually did that CD kind of shiny. Yeah, I did a gradient on that. So sometimes I'll do textures. Wow, we're getting a lot of random comments. 2007 and the style. Oh, here we go. I don't know if I've talked about this before. So this cartoon, this was my first death threat. So in 2006, I'd only been doing this cartoon 4 years, and I think I'd just gotten syndicated. And so my syndicator was the same syndicator as Calvin and Hobbes and a lot of like super popular things. And on a hockey dad website, it was like a forum, a forum for parents of kids playing, junior level, whatever they call it, hockey. This guy must have been on Go Comics. This was before it was Go Comics. I forget what it was before they kind of consolidated and did the kind of heavy campaign. My cartoons were available on this website, so he must have been reading Calvin and Hobbes, and my cartoon was probably new, and they recommended it. And he posted it, and he said, look at this crap, everybody, pile on, this is garbage, I can't believe this is on this website. And then said, when there's amazing things like Calvin and Hobbes. And then you just went on this rant about, I guess, trying to write in the style of my cartoons at that time about how I should be murdered with an old wooden tennis racket, a TV antenna, and a Dremel tool. So he was trying to be funny and come up with random domestic objects that should be used to murder me because I was so terrible at cartooning. So I thought that was pretty funny, and it was on such a weird place, like a hockey parents forum. And so I forget how my stats or my log file linked back to that. So I was getting a ton of traffic from this hockey website, and it was because this guy had sent people to pile on me. And this is even before the kind of social media nightmare had even quite happened yet. And so in this guy's honor of his weird rant, which I don't think exists anymore, I looked for it a few years ago and I couldn't find it, this guy's weird rant about how I should be murdered, I did the little still life of the things that the guy mentioned, and said the tennis racket, TV antenna, Dremel did not understand their role in the assassination plot. And so that guy's weird comment now will exist forever. I didn't put it on the back of my book because I was only using the comments on the actual cartoon site. But I didn't use it in the book because it was pretty weird. It was very kind of a psychotic rant, and so somebody with just some anger about comics. So this exists kind of forever as a memorial to my first death threat as a cartoonist, which doesn't even mean anything. Yeah. Oh, good idea, Joe. That's good. But I prefer breast awareness. I think that was a much better holiday. Super random, weird thing. And that was strange because I didn't even know how many people were reading or what kind of audience I even had. And then to have this cartoon find people and then find people getting so upset about that. I even had that kind of face to face when I was selling books at the booth, like at Comic Cons or whatever, I would have people that would get really angry that they didn't think it was funny. And it's like, maybe it's not funny, and that's okay. But it was like some weird intelligence test or something. So people got really angry that they didn't get my joke, and it's not because it's not, you're not clever. It's not clever. It's just a certain thinking. It's just like a certain, yeah, a certain odd tone that if you don't get it, it's not going to be funny, and then that's fine. But yeah, people got offended by that, got angry about that, and so this guy. And I think he just hated the quality of my my artwork as well. But yeah, my super random. Yeah, I'm sure his sons did poorly that season, so I had to suffer for it. But that was, yeah, very interesting. And now that seems minor. I mean, now that's almost nothing because people get like, DM'd, constant death threats that actually might have some credibility. I mean, this guy publicly posting this on a forum, he wasn't, directly messaging me or directly attacking me. But it was the beginning of that, pile on culture that exists so heavily now. I just don't know why. Nice. Mm-mm. Yeah, very funny. Oh, thanks. Nice. Thanks, Gigs. Appreciate it. Yeah, trying to get HD channels of the racket. Yeah, that was just the list of weapons that I was going to be assaulted with. Oh, I like it that it was the TV antenna, a Dremel, and a wooden tennis racket. Yeah, I don't know. Something just was offensive about the tone or the lack of sense of humor, or also maybe the yeah, because I think I'm one of the few single panel gag cartoons that has so little detail to it that are just kind of objects floating in space. And I think some people are just, yeah, like, what is this? Or it feels unfinished or like not complete enough compared to, what people think of as cartoons. There's not even horizon lines or, windows or corners or anything. It's just stuff. All right. Well, enough comments. It's funny that one came up because that was a big surprise, yeah, for me to find how people can be affected by things that I didn't think were very affecting. All right. So the writing portion. Let me try to center this. So this was refills. Talking about refills. Oh. So it didn't. Whoa. Oh, yeah, that's right. This is my wacky keyboard. Damn. I can't even remember where anything is. Yeah, see, you can't do. There it is. Yeah, that's the Japanese English keyboard conflict where there's certain things like the @ symbol and the whatever that is, the thing used for abbreviations that's not a quote. The other quote, single quote, is not easy to find on the keyboard. It didn't, like, refills were going to happen. Something about refills. It didn't look like refills were going to happen. Oh yeah, speaking of my signature kegs, I was at a show in Japan selling my books and selling the English and Japanese translations, and a guy that handmade the stone, the kind of very old traditional hanko made from stone, not like the rubber seal or anything, came over and offered to make a Japanese stone hanko of my signature. So I gave him my one of my cartoons, and yeah, he did a. I have it. It's somewhere really close. Yeah, I'll show that next time. I'll try to remember that next time. But he did a stone, so I have a little stone Hunko stamp, hand carved, of my signature. So he just took my signature and and duplicated it, but kind of made it a little bit more even and balanced to fit in the square. So I can ink a kind of negative image, a red square with my white, my signature in negative unprinted space on my Japanese cartoons and stuff. That was really cool. Yeah, that felt really awesome because most of the time he's just doing people's traditional names and Chinese characters, but he said, let me try to do your little squiggle signature as a Hanko, and then you can just mark that, you can just stamp that onto your cartoons. Yeah, so that's very cool. Oh yeah, and he saw that because I tried to do that myself with a just a rubber stamp. I tried to carve my signature in a rubber stamp, but it was kind of rough looking. But I just thought it looked cute on the cover of the Japanese versions of the books. And he said, "Let me make a real one for you." And yeah, so I'll show you. I'll show you that one sometime. Yeah, it's really close. I can't remember. It's like right around here somewhere. But yeah, I won't dig for it. But it's on one of these shelves behind me. Okay. Or refills were asking too much. They worried that refills were asking too much. Oh yeah. Yeah, I will definitely, I'll find that. Yeah, that guy's amazing. He's really, really wonderful, and it's so interesting to see how, because they just use like little, very tiny, fine chisels, like chisels and kind of something that looks like an awl, that looks like a like you would puncture like leather with it. But yeah, he just kind of carves in one direction, very complicated Chinese characters and things in stone. So I think it's marble. I think it's like, yeah, they're like little pieces of marble. But yeah, that's a very old traditional style. And so some very traditional, very formal ceremonies, they won't have like a rubber based, they'll actually have this, they'll ink the stone and like lay these like large stone signatures, like Hanko marks on the papers and things. So that's very cool. All right, and I think you can register whatever you want. Like you can formally register as your official signature any kind of mark that you want. So you could use those older stone ones as well, but it's just sometimes they're a little bit more difficult to carry, and they can break. Like if you dropped one, it may break, as opposed to the lighter plastic ones with the rubber ends. All right, something about refills. They worried that refills were asking too much. So the picture's looking nervous because of the condensation. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, really happy. Parade. Yeah, this is a URW Designs font called Parade, and I've loved this ever since. It just had a weird retro but kind of playful feeling that worked really well when I was doing when it started out, it was mostly kitchen things, and it just seemed to match that look very well. So I always loved this font. It's one of the first fonts that I paid like way too much money to have like the official version of, instead of like using a free version or a demo or finding somebody that copied it. I bought the official version of it so I could publish it and everything and not have any problems. All right. Oh yeah, so this is something about displaying donuts. Um, hmm. Something about no longer having donuts too. Let's see. Or transparent or see-through, exposed. Tequila. Exactly. Uh, um, let's see. Hmm. Display boxes or display. So nothing to show. I have no idea what I was going for here. Let's see. Windowed donut boxes. Yeah, if there's nothing to show, nothing. Oh yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, my wife is a big tequila fan. She lived in Mexico for a year during university, and actually in that near that little kind of historic, like beautiful old village that is in Desperado, the Robert Rodriguez remake of, I forget the original name, but yeah, that little with the beautiful church and everything. Yeah, she lived near there. But yeah, she's a big tequila fan, and she can drink like Marion from Raiders of the Lost Ark. She can just, yeah, it's crazy. I'm like maybe twice her size, and she can, yeah, go shot for shot with me. Tequila. It's brutal. So she should probably open a bar in, where were they, Nepal or whatever, and have drinking contests with bizarre guys. Ah, Trapped. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can sign. So now there's a lot of electronic pads and stuff, like electronic tablets to sign. So people just write the kanji of their name, and I just do my squiggle, kind of bank signature, and that's fine for here. But for official documents and paperwork, so anything that needs to be an original of, you need to put your stamp. So sometimes they'll have you sign it, and then you also have to put your stamp. So there'll be a line and then a circle, and the circle is where your stamp goes, and your line, the line is where your signature goes. So kind of like print your name, like sign and then print your name, that sometimes we have to do for contracts and stuff in English. They'll have a sign, so you write the kanji for your name with just a ball pen, and then put the hanko stamp in the circle on the document. So that proves that it's an original. That's a way to make it like an original one. So things that have to have an original copy, different certificates and government paperwork and stuff need that hanko. But in a lot of casual situations, credit cards and stuff, you can just write things down with a pen. But yeah, and they said that's the one thing that's making telecommuting or working from home difficult. I think I talked about that before, but difficult for a lot of companies is because they want original things. A lot of times when you have your hands on something, when you touch some paperwork or you've edited something or done something, you have to put your little business hanko, like a very small kind of casual one, but you have to mark that as I approve this, or I've had my hands on this, or I'm quality checking this or something, and you have to do that. So they have to come up with like an electronic replacement for that to make the work easier. But there is so much like still physical paperwork in Japan. It's very funny. I think they love that paper bureaucracy thing here, so they do a little too much of that still, and that's making working at home difficult, because if you're in the office, then you're always touching things and passing stuff around. And now we don't want to do that. All right. So, once free. Oh yeah, it was gonna be about the donut. I don't know if it's about the boxes of the donut. Uh, the world was, yeah, different once free of the box. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, if I had my choice, if I could only do, well, I like oil paint, but that is so much more involved, and like you're creating these large, well, depending on how big you work, but you're creating objects that are a little bit difficult to kind of maintain and deal with. So you have to have a very dedicated studio. But I love oil painting because that's the first thing that I ever did, kind of thinking as an artist. But I also love gouache, and maybe gouache more than just straight watercolor. But ink and washes, and especially like the acrylic tones, is something that can be a little bit more opaque than just watercolor. So ink and gouache and ink gouaches I like very much. Yeah, because I love drawing with the brush pens. So they have the Fude pen is the, oh, I have one right here. These pens that they have in Japan are really cool. So these are for signing. These are for writing your name in like formal kanji. So just a brush, but this whole cartridge here is ink, and you can squeeze it, and the ink goes down into the chamber. So it's kind of like a ballpoint pen, brush pen. Like it's a portable, so you don't have to have a pot of ink and dip a brush into ink, or a little tray of ink. You don't have to dip a brush. You have a brush that self inks itself. And I really like drawing with those, which is, people think it's very funny because they only think about that when they're signing like formal invitations, or doing something that's kind of ceremonial or sometimes religious. And so Japanese people think it's funny that I draw with those pens, but they give you a really nice kind of cartoony thin to thick line, and they're real portable. So yeah, I like brush and ink and washes a lot too. But I've been working digitally mostly for so long. El Mariachi, thank you, Joe. That's awesome. Yes, the original Rodriguez film, El Mariachi. Yeah, so Desperado, and the remake of that, the small town that's in is where my wife stayed in Mexico. Long way to go for that. Yeah, El Mariachi. But Donut's murder scene. It does look like, with the debris around it. It does look like. Yeah. Sorry. Get a little water. Yeah. Yeah, so so now they're all empty, but there is proof that there was once donuts in those boxes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I haven't. I've done only hobby wise. I've done like rattle cans, like aerosol cans for hobby stuff. So I did some miniatures painting, and Gundam, the plastic model kits for Gundam and stuff. So I've done some airbrush, and then also the propellant aerosol cans for kind of toning and shading and like base coating, because you can kind of directionally, even with a spray can, you can directionally spray something that can look like a light source, and then you can go by hand and kind of reinforce the angle. But for getting keys, for if like you want a light to come from above or from the right, and just doing just hitting it with a can of lighter color, it can kind of give you a nice easy light source to work with. So some of the miniature stuff that I've done that stuff, and models too. But yeah, not seriously as like not for like artistic or creative work. I haven't done anything. And I think control wise, I'm still not great with it for hobby stuff. So I think control wise, I'd have to work, yeah, a lot harder at it, because I don't have much experience. People in donut display boxes. Yeah, it was not possible to lie about the number of donuts. Let's see. It was too easy. Maybe this. Yeah, maybe. Whoops. Okay. See, I'm supposed to be. Oh my god. Supposed to be writing these, and I am still procrastinating. There we go. All right. They had warned him. Let's see. Oh, nice. Yeah, scared of being stale. That's good. That's good. Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, the scale. Yeah, definitely a scale of aerosol cans. That's something I almost got a job repainting a mural in a Italian restaurant in Japan, and so I was thinking about that. I was thinking about only 1:30 a.m. I was thinking about that, about doing masking, kind of doing more, yeah, more graffiti style and using masks and rattle can or aerosol cans for painting to do like texturing and things and do nice gradations and things. But I didn't get the work, so it didn't happen. But that would have been fun. I definitely would have tried aerosol doing that, yeah, because especially for scale, yeah, scale wise. And I like that because you can't have a brush that's actually that big. It kind of gets weird when brushes get that big, but you can still, the arc of your arm and everything for spray cans, I think, still works really well. So you get that weird, the bigger than human scale that is really fun to paint at. That I think it'd be better with a spray can than it would be with a brush. Oh, no way. No, I haven't. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I guess you could. You could, like, you could draw on a car with Sharpie and then, like, fix it, like, either wax or some kind of, I don't know, what you could put on the surface of the car that wouldn't destroy it, but like polyurethane or some kind of coating that would protect it for a little while. But the cool part is that it would wear off as well. Oh, that's cool. No, I haven't seen art on Sharpies. Yes, let's see. So there was no hiding, hence the windowed boxes. There was no hiding the loss of his last donut. Something like that. That's a start, at least. Was no hiding. Jeez, this keyboard is not easy to use. There was no hiding the fact that there was no hiding that he lost the last donut. Yeah, what kind of term would that be? Something simple. There's no hiding the fact that he had lost. I don't like he lost his last. That's final donut. Yeah, no longer contained donuts. Something funnier than that. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, clear. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I've seen insane. There's some manga artists in Japan that have done just sketches and like character drawings, and sometimes like panels, full panels, on like old school slate chalkboards of their art. It's just crazy. It's amazing how, and especially if you're like considering how you're using the medium, because it's like chalkboards are, dark. They're either green or black, and then you're doing chalk, which is going to be lighter. And so if you switch the balance of that, that's pretty cool. I've seen some really amazing like manga art illustration on chalkboards. Uh, uh, no longer with a donut. No longer. Okay, so no hiding, I think, is the. Uh, hmm. Oh, no hiding the fact that she was empty inside. Yep, that empty inside. A little pun. There was no hiding the fact that she was now empty. She? Why am I making a she? Maybe I'm thinking like children leaving home. He? Sorry. All right. So there's no hiding the fact that he was now. Yeah, but socially, I don't know, he or she. Yeah, my instinct for saying she was just because I was thinking about like empty nest and kids and stuff, and a kid being inside a box feels more female. But I'm not gendering anything. I'm not. That's the biggest mistake that I've made. Not only calling this comic, this cartoon, domestic abuse, but gendering inanimate objects. That's insane. I will. This box identifies as Zize. I don't even. I don't know that. Yes. Yeah. They're all empty inside. Yeah. So now they're finally. Yes. There was no hiding the fact that they were all. Okay. There's no hiding the fact that they were now all empty inside. That were all. That they were now. God damn. Adverb placement. There was no hiding the fact that they were now. Ugh, that's too. That they were now. That they were now all. Oh, it's that thing again. It's not giving me my cursor. Oh, totally. Okay, we'll go with the long one. Empty inside and break it here, maybe. There was no hiding the fact that they were now all totally empty inside. Try to get that G away from those L's. There was no hiding the fact that they were now all totally empty inside. Oh, cool. Take it easy, Kegs. Yeah, thanks for checking in. It's good to have you on stream. And yeah, take care. Be safe. And get some rest. Yeah, I don't mean to keep everybody up late and depriving you of sleep. Take it easy. Uh, let's see. There was no hiding the fact that they were all now completely might be better. I like that better. Empty. I might not even need inside now. Yeah, there was no hiding the there was no hiding the fact that they now they were all now there was no it's fucking now there was no hiding the fact that they were now because it just happened to this box, so there was now no okay, put it there. There was now no hiding no no hiding the fact. I'm gonna make myself crazy saying this over and over again. Oh, that's good. Yeah, K5, I've been really bad lately. I've seen the sun rise way too many mornings recently. It's beautiful though. But yeah, I'll try to go to sleep a regular time and just wake up, an hour later, and that's it. My body says, yeah, that's enough for you, and I just sit up very late. Hiding the fact that she was all alone. Yeah. There's now no hiding the fact. Ah. Okay. Empty and alone together. That's kind of a funny. Empty and alone is like, very extreme. There was now no hiding the fact that they were all empty and alone. Even though they were all together. See, they had each other, but they didn't even know it. I think I'll go with that. That has a little bit of a silly, people being alone in their own, alone in groups of people. Yeah, there was now no hiding the fact that they were all alone, empty and alone. I like alone. That's good. Thank you, Joe. Empty and alone. No, definitely don't. I appreciate all the input. So yeah, don't ever. Don't ever need to be quiet. It's especially funny. I think that pronouns is something that people never thought would be a problem. And I love that there's that Warner Brothers cartoon, the Bugs and Daffy short, where they, deciding rabbit season, duck season, called Pronoun Trouble. I always think that that's funny. Every time I see that title card, I didn't think we would actually ever be living in an era of pronoun trouble. It's funny. Didn't look like refills were going to happen. Yeah, I think that's right. I think you're right, K5. I feel terrible. Some of those mornings trying to go back to sleep. It's you just feel worse. It would be good then to be tired, because then I might actually go to sleep. But it's just because I don't do enough. Even like taking my daughter to the park or whatever, it's just like not enough physical activity, as opposed to like walking all the way down, taking the train, walking around in the city, going to office, coming back, walking up halfway up a mountain. That was a lot better, I think, physically, and now my body is like expecting more and just never tired. And my brain is too busy too at night to shut down. But I've watched a lot of movies. I definitely think though less than 3 hours is not even worth. All right. Refills or nervous? Or stingy with the lemonade. A need to prolong or to make it last as long as possible. Let's see. Oh, it could be, though. I mean, it could be just hard on your body. Yeah, because it's just like functioning only on a short nap. Yeah, I think mentally, if you don't get your REM cycles, I don't think it rests your brain enough to even count as a night's sleep. Let's see. It didn't look like refills were going to happen. They'd given up on the idea of refills. Yeah, refills shouldn't be shouldn't be this difficult, this demanding, this dramatic. Any discussion of refills? Been just long enough. Yeah, it didn't look like refills were going to happen. That might be as good as it gets, because I'm going to get short and sweet might be better. Refills were in their future. Didn't look like... Yeah, I don't want to get too complicated with this. I don't think it's strong enough an image to demand that. And I think it looks very familiar. So it didn't look like refills were going to happen in their future, or they thought, yeah, I think I think no refills is the best way to do this. Yeah, it didn't look like refills were going to happen. That's going to work the best, because I don't want to get too involved in what's going on with between them. It might get weird. All right, there was no hiding the fact that they were all empty and alone. That sounds like a classic one. That's a very, it has enough sadness in it. That sounds like yeah. I think both of these have enough of the right tone. Kind of move this up a little bit. I think this one's okay. Whoa, what happened there? Just this. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. I'm going to get to the grocery store before everybody after work does, so that should happen soon. All right. Doesn't like my last name. All right. Don't think refills were going to happen. That works. Can you feel me? Nice. Oh, that's a good. Yeah, fill up. Yeah. Refill. Fill. Yeah. What do they say? Can I top that off for you? Can I warm that up? That's right. Coffee is can I warm that up for you? All right. Well, donuts and lemonade are gonna have to be the cartoons of this week. But yeah, this is really fun. As always, you guys are so so much fun to talk with, and to yeah, I like your input. Helps me so much for yeah, seeing things a little differently, not getting too focused on my one angle or one idea. And it's fun as I'm drawing this for you to figure out what in the world I'm even trying to draw. But I do miss the Entenmann's. Wow, wish I could get a hold of some of those little donuts. But I definitely have to hit up the Mr. Donut because it's right by the grocery store. All right, so that's going to do us for this week. I will be back again next week, and I yeah, really hope that everyone takes care, and yeah, and that things get better. I hope that we're at the end of this soon. Although I'm having trouble even remembering what it was like to stream from the office. It feels very very weird now. This is becoming too common. But that is all for this week. So the website for the cartoon is abusecartoons.com, and this is streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, as you probably know. And follow me on Twitter at abusecartoons. So the announcement for the streams and some other random stuff, especially if I'm actually going to have the cartoons go anywhere, or new books or anything, that's all going to be announced on Twitter. And yeah, and if you'd like to support the cartoon for as little as $1, patreon.com/abusecartoons. So original art, signed books, all that good stuff is available there. And I will be back again next week. Yeah, thanks K5. I always appreciate it. Good stuff. So I'll be back again next week to do the same song and dance, the same writing and talking. And I hope to see you guys again next week, and I hope that it's a decent week. So everyone take it easy. Joe, Sedona, Jane, K5, Kegs, it was nice to talk with you. And yeah, everybody take care. And I will see you again soon. Have a good one. Take it easy. Bye, everyone.